All right, welcome back, everyone, to our 17th episode now of the Fantasy Variation. We're now into the thick of the fantasy playoffs. I unfortunately didn't have much luck this week in our league, losing to Elgin. So shout out to him. Nice win this week. We'll talk about it here shortly. And then shout out to Barrett as well, taking down the Ironheads. Ironheads weren't able to correct the course and get back on track this week, which was tough to see. Obviously, I was cheering for the Ironheads big time after their big matchup against Riley when they couldn't bring it home with a good score. So sucks to see them go home as well as my team, but we'll talk about them a little bit. And Colin's here to talk about those matchups with me. Colin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Football didn't have any fantasy football matchups for this league. The Colts let me down severely. So football didn't go too well. But other than that, I'm going to Las Vegas in the morning. So in good spirits right now. So doing well.
Yeah, can't be too mad with that. Can we talk about Jonathan Taylor real quick? How is it 2024 and we still got people dropping the ball at the goal line, especially a player of his pedigree?
All right. First of all, I still don't think he dropped it before the goal line. One, we still have not seen a pylon camera for zero reason. Don't know why. And two, I've rewatched it so many times, like I cannot get clear evidence that he dropped it in front of it. Besides the point, dude, hold on to the freaking ball. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? It makes no sense. No sense at all. I don't know. He's a great guy. I love him. But like just total bonehead move. So I got no further comments at this time.
Yeah, man, I played however many BFL games in my career, like 30 or 40 of them. Never once did I ever consider dropping the ball before the goal line. And we're not playing for any money, Super Bowls, anything like that. So, yeah, kind of crazy to see that still happens. I always read stuff that says, like, this should happen one time and then never again. And I'm like, I totally agree. How do you watch this happen to someone and then have it happen to you? I don't know. But I'm sure it won't be the last time we see it in football and probably not the last time we see it this year. So.
Well, I feel like we saw it, like somebody did it in college this week too. And I don't remember who it was, but yeah, or maybe it was the NFL too. I don't know. But we saw it twice this week. Makes zero sense. But then I also saw some random guy had a huge parlay that only missed by Jonathan Taylor anytime touchdown. And it was like, I don't know how much it was. I want to say in like the 100,000s, like something ridiculous. So I'm like, all right, that's a tough beat.
That's an auto retire right there if that ever happened to me. I've been mad about some bets this year, and then nothing compares to that one. So I couldn't even imagine missing like that.
Yeah, very, very brutal. But who knows? Colts will be back this week. Basically no playoff chances, but it's all right. We're good.
Hey, they're still fighting for something. A little pride and Anthony Richardson getting developed a little bit. So still got a few things to look forward to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess for Barrett, luckily he didn't need the Jonathan Taylor score to take it home against Zach, but we'll talk about that one in a second. Maybe I'll just go ahead and get mine out of the way real quick. You were asking me how I was doing after the loss, but I mean, I can't even really be too mad about this one. I mean, Elgin scores 195 on me almost, which I mean, has to be a playoff high for our league. I've definitely never scored that many points in a game. I want to say my max is like lower 190s, maybe upper 180s. I can't remember for sure, but I couldn't even fathom scoring this much in a playoff game. First of all, Josh Allen, I mean, I should have said something last week, Colin, that he was going to be the number one quarterback this week against the Lions. I mean, it's just a great matchup. You know that game's going to be high scoring. Like I said last week, the over-under was 54.5 points, and it might have probably even gone even higher after I had checked it with how many people were on the over. So Josh Allen delivered in that one, scoring 41 points, which is 10 lower than he scored the week before. So slacking a little bit, but still getting the job done there. And then obviously same game, Jahmyr Gibbs puts up 28. I was telling Elgin, this is going to be a 30-point game. He was saying he needed like 17 points out of Gibbs. I was like, that is going to be a bad game against the Bills. So you don't get many games for the Lions where it's a good game script for Jahmyr Gibbs. I shouldn't even really say that. Probably any game script's good for him. If we're up, he's going to run a lot. And if we're down, he's going to get some receptions. So you don't have many games where we're down and he gets a lot of receptions. So that's kind of where he made his money this game en route to a 28-point game. And then shout out to some other guys on his team, Mike Evans and Brian Thomas also scoring 30+. Brian Thomas, especially with Mac Jones throwing him the ball. I mean, just all over the place. You can find some giant scores for him. Even the Bengals D, I mean, my defense outscored his with the Chiefs scoring 22/18, but still 18 points out of a defense. When your defense scores 22 like mine did, you expect to have a big swing there in the score from that position. And that didn't even happen with his defense. So shout out to him. A great week from his team. He survived the Juwan Jennings 5 on Thursday, but that was not really much compared to my Cooper Kupp and Debo combined for 4.9 on Thursday, which put us in quite a bit of a hole early, and I was spending all week debating like Debo or Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco scored 5.7, so that wasn't really going to make much of a difference. And just a lot of other letdowns amongst the rest of my team. I mean, I thought Adam Thielen was a smash spot against Dallas this week. He puts up 10, which their offense kind of went back to what it was, which was bad to see for Thielen. And then I guess Kyler Murray scoring 10, I think was the other one I was going to call out. I mean, that he's been pretty, I shouldn't say bad, but very subpar all year compared to how much I was talking him up. And I think even one of your picks from the beginning of the year was him being a top 5 quarterback, which I thought was a lock if he could stay healthy. Didn't end up happening. Shout out Chase Brown for being a dog. Sadly, he's not going to be going to the semifinals in our league. And I feel like there's going to be one of those graphics at the end of the year where it shows like what percentage of championship teams had a certain player. And Chase Brown's probably going to be near the top of that list, but not for our league. So those were kind of the things I just wanted to highlight real quick. But little disappointing end of the season. We had a lot of injuries early on that we were able to overcome and at least make the playoffs, but I feel like it kind of handcuffed me from making a big move at some point in the middle of the year. I feel like I didn't really have the healthy pieces to trade up for a good guy, and I also didn't have like a great record to be able to trade for some good players, kind of like Cole did throughout the year. So shout out to him for being able to take advantage. I wasn't able to. So yeah, sadly, we're going to be going home here in the first round of the playoffs, but we'll try to be back next year to get our second ring.
Yeah, tough loss, but I mean, like you said, I mean, we talked about it all year. I mean, you had injuries all over the board. You were kind of just trying to stay around that 500 mark, just make it to the playoffs, and I mean, you did. Last game of the season didn't go as well as you hoped, but you can't really hang your head on any tough matchup decisions or anything like that. Blame Cooper Kupp and blame Josh Allen. So yeah, that's about it. I will say Ron better look out. Allen, I could totally see Allen going for another 35 plus, and then Jahmyr Gibbs with Monty out. That could be some trouble for Ron, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Yep. Yeah, let's go ahead and save that one. And I just babbled for probably way too long on this one. So why don't you take the lead on the Ironheads?
Yeah, definitely. Good overall win for Barrett. He outscored Zach by about 50 points here, 150 to 103. Zach's team really just couldn't get it going. I mean, he had some pretty, I wouldn't say pathetic, but poor outings by Tyreek Hill, Tony Pollard. I mean, Kelsey and Derrick Henry too. I mean, Derrick Henry's been a beast all year. Kelsey and Henry both put up 6.7, Tyreek 5.6, Pollard 8.5. I mean, that's just not going to get it done. But then you look at Barrett's end. I mean, he gets 36 out of Lamar, 25 out of AJ Brown, 26 out of Terry. You still got 10 out of Jonathan Taylor, and like we said, should have had probably about 20 points there. With that dumb decision to drop the ball at the goal line. But overall, real good outing from Barrett. Didn't really have to sweat it at all. And he'll be looking to take down Riley this next game.
Yeah, for sure. And gotta probably start with Lamar Jackson at the top, man. I definitely did not expect him to be throwing really any touchdowns in this game. We'll probably talk a little more about Derrick Henry, his rushing stats later. I guess he's on Zach's teams too, so it might bleed into this a little bit. But 5 touchdowns was definitely not on my bingo card for him. So outstanding performance from Lamar. And yeah, I mean, I feel like this playoffs are kind of showing how important it is to have an elite quarterback. I know our strategy is often to wait late on quarterbacks. And if you do pick the right one, like a Joe Burrow, like it can be a huge advantage. But man, having one of those pieces that can just drop 30 to 40 points, and a lot of quarterbacks that are more pocket passers don't have that same ability. Shout out Jared Goff, though, for putting up a 40 piece himself this week. Sadly, not in my lineup. But yeah, I think that's maybe one thing I learned from these first round matchups, watching Lamar and Josh Allen just cook. And then Barrett's wide receivers are just very, very good. They continue to carry him throughout the year. No different here. Terry McLaurin scoring 26, AJ Brown scoring 25. Good to see a bounce back game out of AJ Brown for him for sure. I'm sure Barrett's hoping that he can see the same thing out of him over the next week or two, assuming he can make it that far. As for Zach's team, though, you brought it up. I mean, his first 3 round picks all severely disappointed this week. Tyreek, he's probably a little used to at this point, and Travis Kelce probably as well. He hasn't been as disappointing, but still a letdown for sure this year, other than that 1 month where he was just tearing it up for no reason. But yeah, Derrick Henry, I did not expect a 6.7. I thought this was going to be a monster week out of Derrick Henry. I'm not sure where ESPN had him ranked for running backs, but man, I'd be shocked if it wasn't 2 or better.
I was going to say it would probably been top 3.
Yeah. So, yeah, that sucks to see. And he was talking a lot about DK Metcalf last week. He sucked. So he at least made the right lineup decision there to make this not a doubling of the score from Barrett. But yeah, still a rough overall week for him. Same for me. So we were kind of in the same boat just with these giant blowouts this week. So shout out to Elgin and Barrett for their teams coming through when it matters most.
Definitely. Yeah. Shout out to you and Yost too, making the playoffs. It's tough to do. Not everyone can do it.
Nothing to smile about.
Well, looking at Barrett's team real quick. I know you talked about this a little before we even started the podcast, but his wide receiver room's a little crowded right now. He's got George Pickens coming back. And I think he's kind of got to play Pickens, and it's going to be a tough decision on who to bench. You look at, like, in my eyes, it's probably got to be Ladd or Terry. And Terry, the only reason I say that is because he put up 2 points against the Eagles like a month ago. Obviously a very, very tough matchup, but I mean, dude, that's hard to bench Terry when he's been playing as well as he has. So I don't know. Interested to see or hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, dude. Dude, this is so tough. I mean, you can't bench AJ Brown, you can't bench Garrett Wilson. So I think that already rules that out. And like you said, George Pickens is playing Baltimore. So if he's back, right, I expect him to have a fantastic day in this game. So I don't see how you leave him on the bench either. With the way Terry McLaurin's playing, though, I just feel like it's so tough to bench him. He's got 20 plus points in each of the last 3 weeks. Like, how can you not go with that? And I'm sure if I pull up Ladd here, he's going to look very similar. He's been killing it over the last month. But I think the main problem for him is playing Denver. It's on Thursday, so that's always kind of a real tiebreaker for me. I don't really factor it in too much other than if it's something like this. And also, Pat Surtain, if he's out, sorry for saying this, but I expect him to actually be shadowing Ladd McConkey a decent amount, even if he's in the slot a decent amount. And I know that he's a guy that you probably want to avoid. We'll see if he can avoid him by playing in the slot so much like he does. But I feel like if the Broncos are smart, they're going to be getting their best guy on him.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was looking back at Terry. I think the last time he played the Eagles, I loved him that week. And then that's when he got 2. So I think that's funny. But dude, I don't know. If it's me, I think I might bench Ladd. I don't know. It's tough.
I'm with you. And I'm also seeing, just searching up Surtain's name, that he was a full participant on Broncos' first practice of the week. So he should be in there. Yeah, I think that's going to be the tiebreaker for me. And yeah, I'm surprised you brought up that Terry McLaurin pick from a few weeks ago. We could have just swept that one under the rug.
Hey, gotta own up to it. It's been a rough year so far on some of these takes, but gotta bring it up.
I can respect that.
Disclaimer: Riley and Barrett are not playing this week. Riley is actually playing Elgin, and Barrett is actually playing Cole. We realized this around the 18-minute and 30-second mark. Sorry for the confusion. Appropriate regards, the editing team.
No, but I mean, I guess looking ahead at this matchup versus Riley, I don't know. I kind of think Barrett's going to win this one. Riley, I guess before we get into that, Riley and Cole both significantly benefited from the bye week. I mean, Cole puts up 109.78 points. That's probably the lowest he's put up all season. And then Riley just at 113. We were talking about it too. Looking at his roster, he's got to play Jerry Jeudy. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. He plays against Barrett. Barrett made the drop last week, I think. And I mean, Jerry Jeudy, it's automatic. He's scoring a touchdown. He's going for 100. But right now he's got Charbonnet and Amari Cooper in his flex spots. You gotta put Jeudy in over one of those two guys.
Dude, I didn't even really think about the Jeudy fantasy revenge game thought or whatever. So maybe you're right. You just got to get him in there. But dude, so if Kenneth Walker plays, like, I don't know who he puts at either flex. Obviously, Darnold's locked in as quarterback, and I'd be pretty happy with him in there. You got Aaron Jones and Kyron Williams obviously starting along with Jamar Chase and Devontae Adams. Njoku plays, you play. Oh, actually, he's probably his problem too. Yeah, I guess I'll talk about Njoku and Jeudy first. Yeah, with DTR playing, I'm not really thrilled to get either of them into my lineup.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I understand that, and I see his other options, but I just would have a tough time getting Jerry Jeudy in there, but he might not have a choice. And Njoku's probably going to fall into the same boat, but like, what's his alternative? Pat Freiermuth? I guess he's playing against the Ravens, so maybe, but I feel like I can't really say that with how unproductive Fryermuth's been all year. So that's definitely something to watch with DTR. We'll see if he has the same connection with Jeudy, but man, I know Jameis hasn't been playing great, but for fantasy purposes, he just feeds wide receivers fantasy points. So that sucks to see. And then, so if we're going to just slot Jeudy in there, if we're going to say that, I wouldn't be happy about it. But so if Walker sits out, obviously you're playing Charbonnet, and that's not a problem. But man, if Walker plays, like, are you just sticking Charbonnet in there? Like, are you playing Amari Cooper after not getting a target last week in a 48-42 game? Like, I don't even know what he really knows.
You could maybe plug Singletary in there. I mean, he had like 7 carries and a touchdown last week. I mean, maybe hope for another touchdown out of him. I really don't know what he's going to do. That's he is absolutely praying Kenneth Walker is out one more week.
Here's what I will say, man. If there's one guy on waivers, I'd say that's not a bad pickup. You can call me a homer. Not sure if Riley will ever even see this, but Tim Patrick, he's been pretty decent for the Lions, dude. And I think it wouldn't be the worst start compared to some of these guys. He was the only guy I considered picking up and playing it over Deebo Samuel last week. And he actually would have done better because he ended up getting in the end zone. I don't think he had like all that many targets and catches, but sure as hell did better than Deebo Samuel and Cooper Kupp. So I think Tim Patrick's been playing great football of late, and that's maybe someone I'd look at on waivers to replace some of these people if things go awry with the Walker injury and DTR and whatnot.
That could be a great call. I mean, you called it. He did end up having 8 targets last week, 4 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown. But I mean, last two weeks, last 2 weeks he scored 22 and 13. I mean, didn't score a touchdown all year, and then last 2 weeks he's put up 3 tutters. That could be a crazy play right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because he's going against the Bears, and maybe that's not the best game script, but man, our defense is so banged up. I would not be surprised if the Bears have their way more than they have the last 2 months or so on offense. So if that's the case, I think Tim Patrick could have a great game if the Lions have to kind of throw a little bit more than you'd expect going in against the Bears, which I think could very well be the case. We also always struggle against the Bears, so that could also be a problem, and Caleb Williams just has his way because we can't figure out how to play Chicago no matter how bad they are.
Yeah, throwback to Thanksgiving. Hey, at least they got the dub.
Nightmare.
Nightmare. But yeah, I mean, I guess some other guys just looking at Barrett's team. I mean, he, in my mind, he's just better than Riley. His team in general. I could totally see Lamar going off again. I know it's against Pittsburgh. It's a somewhat tough matchup. I mean, Pittsburgh C's pretty good, but the way Lamar's been playing. And then too, like, so last week he threw for almost 300 yards, I think, and like 5 passing touchdowns, and his odds to win MVP just absolutely plummeted compared to Josh Allen going off. I think he's a little upset with that, man. I think that'll fire him up and get him going. Maybe he runs for 100 yards and a touch or two. So who knows? I could totally see Lamar going off for Barrett this week and putting up, 30, 40 plus.
And you know what I just realized? Barrett is not playing Riley. Barrett's playing Cole.
That is my fault. Oh, man.
Well,
you are totally right.
We jumped around a bit. I mean, we can stick with Barrett and Cole's game and come back to ripping on Riley later. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you there. It's going to be tough for Barrett. I think Elgin's team probably matches up a lot better with Cole's, and I'm honestly happier with these matchups. No offense to Barrett and Riley, but I think Elgin and Cole have the best 2 teams, so it'd be great if we could see them in the finals. Yeah, I really do like Barrett's team, as we said, like with all the wide receivers, but man, it's just going to be a tall task to beat Cole's team. And he's never really wrestling with a whole lot of start sits. He basically always knows who he's going to play. They're all really good. I think we do have one written down maybe to talk about, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see if he can slay the dragon.
I was gonna say, what you have written down? He's got Zay on the bench right now, but I know Kamara is questionable. I know Kendre Miller might get the nod. I don't know exactly how it is. So like we've talked about all year, if Cole gets an injury, he does have the depth to be able to handle it. But right now, yeah, he's got Zay on his bench, and then he's starting Tyrone Tracy Jr. right now. That's probably the only start sit decision he's got at the moment. Man, I don't know. I would kind of lean towards playing Zay over Tracy. What do you think?
I'm 100% with you. I don't think he's going to have to worry about it because I think Kamara's going to sit out, and I see he's playing on Monday night as well. So that really sucks for him if they don't figure out if he's playing or not beforehand. Like,
And Zay plays on Saturday too.
yeah, I guess we'll. Oh man, yeah, I guess we'll see if he picks up Kendre Miller here. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a move for him on waivers. This video won't drop till afterwards, so it doesn't really matter. But I agree with you. I think if Kamara is ruled in before Saturday, I'm playing Zay Flowers for sure over Tyrone Tracy. I really don't want to play guys that are in that bad of an offense. I know Atlanta's not a very good defense, but I think they do have a pretty good fantasy grade against running backs. Let me see real quick. I want to say it's top 10 or at least top half of the league.
Yeah, let me know what
11.
that says. 11? Okay. Yeah, man. I don't know. Overall in general, so wait, who were we just talking about? We were just talking about Tracy?
Tracy and Zay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going with Zay, but then yeah, like we said, I mean, Kamara could be out. Even if Kamara's out and he picks up Kendre Miller, I think I'm still going Tracy and Zay over Kendre Miller. What do you think about that?
I just think are you talking like, so if Kamara gets
So
ruled
Kamara's-
out before, yeah, I play
Full
Tracy
Miller.
and Zay, but yeah, I wouldn't have any problem, I don't think, with risking it for Kamara and plugging Kendre Miller. And I think he could have a fine game. Jamal Williams is not good, and they've shown that they don't really care to use him. Kendre Miller is the true backup here. It's just going to be a matter of game script because against the Packers, they're probably going to get dog walked by them. So he's not much of a receiving back, and you don't really know how much rushing work he's going to get. But I think I'd risk it for Kamara to play for sure over like a Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I agree with you there. I mean, looking at it, so now that we're on the same page, Ron and Barrett are playing. At the moment, Ron's projected around 143. That'll obviously drop if Kamara goes out. And then Barrett's projected around 125 with probably the lineup he's going to go with. He doesn't really have any start sits there. So obviously Cole's a little bit of a favorite here. I don't know. I still like Barrett to maybe squeak by and get this upset. I don't know. He's got a lot of tough matchups. I mean, like we talked about, Ladd and Terry both have tough matchups. I mean, Zach Ertz, you could maybe argue, and then Lamar, but those guys have been so hot lately. Never know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, sorry, Barrett. I'm not gonna say anything that might upset you, but I don't have as much confidence.
You like Ron to get it done?
Yeah, I think if Elgin was playing him, like I thought at the beginning, I think I could see Elgin beat him, but yeah, I think Elgin's really the only team that can compete with him, and we'll talk about him in this last matchup here in a second more because that's the only team I guess we haven't talked about, so I won't jump the gun there.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really have much more to add on Ron and Barrett's teams. Do you?
No, I don't think so. All right, let's talk about Elgin. So,
Cool.
yeah, I mean, he had a fantastic week last week. It's hard to bet against him, against Riley's team, I think. And we already talked about all kind of like the tough decisions Riley has. And even with those decisions, I don't know if there's a great way for him to win this one if Elgin's team continue to play at the level they are. I will shout out one other guy on waivers. I didn't realize he was there. I think he just recently went to waivers, which is Jalen McMillan. I think he's also a great start this week against Dallas. So I think he could also be a guy you plug in there. I would definitely play him over Amari Cooper or Zach Charbonnet if Walker's in. So I think he's probably going to have to go to waivers and find at least a piece or two and see if they can maybe pop off and pull a team boobs and have a good score.
Definitely. Yeah, we might have to send this to the rest of the league and not Riley, so we don't have any collusion here.
Perfect.
He might take over all your plays here.
Hey, that's fine, man. If you listen to the pod, you can get a little insight. It's not really going to lead to anything considering I'm already eliminated, but you can use the advice if you want.
True. Yeah, I mean, looking at Elgin's team right now, he's projected a whopping 153, compared to Riley at I just lost it. Riley at 120 right now. Assuming he puts Judy in there somewhere, and maybe if Kenneth Walker gets ruled out, that projection will go up to probably 130. Yeah, Elgin's projected more than 22 points around. So definitely high hopes for Mr. Elgin there.
Yeah, man, I don't know how I see him losing, honestly. I mean, Josh Allen is playing at another level right now. Quick shout out to the Bills Patriots game, I guess. I really do like the over in this game. I'm not taking it in my best bets, but I like the over 46.5. And I think if they do hit the over in this one and Drake May and the offense can kind of get things going, I think Josh Allen should smash his projection again at 25. I mean, dude, this offense just everything runs through him. So I really don't see how he doesn't put up a good score. I mean, he's put up almost 100 in the last 2 games. So we're seeing stuff that we've never seen before from the quarterback position, and he's on Elgin's team, which is a huge advantage. I talked a little bit about Jamar Chase last week at wide receiver, but I should have talked a little bit about Josh Allen. I mean, he's hitting numbers that we don't see from anyone, including like Lamar Jackson. So we'll see if he can keep it up. And then the other guy I'm going to shout out is Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, I think in my eyes, he's easily the running back one the rest of the way in fantasy. He's going to be getting – I mean, he's not going to be seeing maybe as many touches as like a Saquon Barkley, but man, in this offense, and when Craig Reynolds is your backup, like I don't see how you don't get a ridiculous amount of carries. And David Montgomery is actually the only injury we have on offense, funny enough, with all the defensive injuries piling up. So, I mean, that's the one injury that'll help Jahmyr Gibbs in the long run. So I just don't see how he doesn't smash every projection he has. Once again, I'm going to say 22.8 is too low. Chicago's defense is much worse on the ground than they are through the air. So I think if they're going to win this one or cover the spread, whatever you want to say about the Lions, I think it's going to have to all go through Jahmyr Gibbs. So We'll see if Riley can survive those two, but man, I think those two alone are going to be putting up ridiculous numbers. And then we got Bijan Robinson, Brian Thomas, Mike Evans, Brian Robinson. They used to have to go through, and we'll see if Ritter can get on the same page with Brock Bowers. If he gets back to form,
yeah, literally.
Look out.
I was gonna say, man. I mean, Allen and Gibbs, I expect to combine for at least 60, and then Bijan. Look at his stats lately. Been doing significantly better. 25, 20, and then a weaker week last week with 14.5. Still at 125 rushing yards. He gets the end zone. Excellent. Then you look at like Brian Thomas Jr. Dude, I expect Mac Jones to keep feeding him. I mean, this guy's insane. People on Twitter have been talking about it's like, okay, coming out of the draft, Marv, he's like this god like prospect. Then kind of little bit sleeping on Neighbors, not really. I mean, he was super projected or super, what is the word? Like amplified. I don't know. People were high on him, but then Brian Thomas Jr., dude, both these guys out of LSU, nobody was really giving them as much hype as they deserve. I mean, this guy's clicking now. It's the end of the season. He's back. And then Mike Evans, dude, they play the Cowboys on Monday night. I mean, watch out, dude. 25, 10, 36. Baker's thriving with him. And then what? Yeah, you mentioned Brock Bowers, dude. I mean, Ritter's horrible. I kind of feel like Bowers is not, like 15 is a little too much for him. But you know, who knows? Ritter's got a game under his belt. Maybe he'll learn and be like, hey, let's get the ball to the arguably one of the best receivers / tight ends in the league right now. So who knows, man? Who knows?
We'll say, I guess I was just going to say real quick, I think Aiden O'Connell might be back. If that's the case,
that's
going to be a lot of trouble, but I don't know if I have a lot of faith in that. Oh, Aiden O'Connell actually is projected points on ESPN, so maybe it is a little more likely than I thought. I didn't even know that this week would be the week for his return, but yeah, if that's the case, I mean, he just has been feeding Brock Bowers, and as bad as Aiden O'Connell is, I mean, he's leaps and bounds better than Desmond Ridder, so that could be another huge help for Elgin's team, though I'm not sure he's going to need it this week.
Definitely. I mean, so I guess on Riley's side, he is absolutely going to need like a 40 piece from Jamar Chase. I kind of feel like his season relies on Jamar. Just looking at his lineup, and man, Bengals against Cleveland. I don't know. Second game of the year between those two. I can just see this being a little ugly and a little low scoring. But you know, Burrow's been targeting the crap out of him. So 40 definitely is a stretch. But you know, never gonna put it past Jamar and Burrow. And then I mean Devontae, if he goes off again, that'd be obviously massive. But he's definitely gonna need some 30-point bombs out of multiple guys this week.
Wait a minute. Did you say Riley's team scored like 115 last week and he had Devontae Adams? That did not even click for me right there. That is insane.
Yeah, he started Njoku, who did he?
Oh, okay.
He played.
Okay.
And then, I mean, his defense, he started Chargers defense that got -4. and Amari Cooper, who didn't get a single catch. So that definitely weighed him down a little bit.
Yeah, I just know Devontae Adams had 40 piece and he still put up that
Yep.
much. But yeah, I guess he probably didn't check his lineup too much if he's not playing. So I guess maybe two things to say. The first one, I think Riley's team was one of the teams I shouted out last week as having a good chance to win. It really just comes down to Jamar Chase, like you said. We've talked about all those problems at flex, but that's where Jamar Chase comes in as like a human band-aid. He just patches all your problems. So we'll see if he can come through and have a big week for him this week. And yeah, it's probably going to come down to those two flexes picking the right ones too. So we'll see if that's the case. And then the other thing I was going to bring up, a guy that I actually love on Riley's team this week is Kyron Williams. I think he's going to be another big piece to Riley's team this week. It's not supposed to be like rainy or snowy, I don't think, in East Rutherford, New Jersey for this one, but it is going to be really cold. So I think the Rams are going to have to rely a lot on the run game. And Kyron Williams has been phenomenal this year on the ground. Even if it hasn't led to a lot of fantasy points, every week he's putting up ridiculous numbers on the ground. So I think if he can just find the end zone in this one, maybe get a couple catches, he could be in line for a monster day.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to pull up how many carries he's been getting lately. Yeah, I mean, past 2 games, he's gotten 29 carries in both of them. Kind of anticipate that to keep going, like you mentioned. So yeah, another great point. And I mean, too, dude, it's like, okay, we've got a massive favorite in Elgin here. Cole's been a massive favorite all year. If he played last week, if he played anyone except for Zach, he would have been eliminated from the playoffs. So you never know, man. You always root for your team. You think you need 40 points out of some players, but really you could just hope for some eggs out of the opposing players.
Yep, that's the beauty of fantasy football, and that's why we love it and hate it so much. So we'll see what happens this round. I think that covers everything I was going to bring up with our matchups. Do you have anything else you wanted to shout out?
No, I don't think so. It covers all the players and everything. I am going to make a prediction that that Elgin beats Barrett in the championship. That's my bold prediction. I guess Elgin isn't bold, but I'm gonna take Barrett to upset Ron, and then I'm gonna take Elgin in the championship.
All right. Well, I'm not going to take the same winner as you. I'll take Elgin and Cole to make it to the finals. I'll take Cole to beat him, but I like you to come out in the end. I mean, they're just looking so much better than everyone else on paper. Riley's team was looking so much better last week, and now with Walker coming back and Amari Cooper getting 0 targets, I didn't even realize how low his snap counts have been too until this week. So Amari Cooper maybe not looking as good as he was, and now with Judy and Njoku too. I was shouting him out as having great matchups the next 2 weeks, and now with DTR, it's all down the drain. So we'll see if he can battle through adversity.
DTR saw the transactions in our league, and he saw Barrett drop Judy. So he sees Riley. Riley has Judy now. He's gonna feed him.
We'll see, but yeah, the revenge game I guess is gonna have to wait though. You're bringing that up. It's gonna have to wait till the final. We'll see if Riley will make it.
Never mind. Judy's going for 2. Sorry, Riley.
You got to make it to the championship to get that 50 burger.
Yep. Oh man, but yeah, I think that covers everything I wanted to say about the matchups and players.
All right, cool. Well, I think all we got left then is our best bets. So,
all right,
maybe I'll go and recap mine from last week. We didn't hit the even mark necessarily on the year. So once again, we got 4 bets ready to go. We'll see if we can get across the finish line now. But we did go 3-1 last week, so we're up almost 2 units, which is fantastic. Bengals game was a bigger sweat than it needed to be. The Titans had 14 points before I'd even really turned on the game. So that was not great to see, but the Bengals defense completely tore apart Will Levis afterwards. I saw they benched him now, and that Will Levis was super surprised by it, which the funniest thing ever. He thinks he's so good and he's just terrible. So shout out to the Bengals for taking care of business though in the end. And then the other hit from the day games was the over in the New England Arizona game, which this was looking horrid until the fourth quarter. There were 4 touchdowns in the last 8 minutes of this one, which got us over by 1 point. So that one definitely might have been a little lucky there with the play down the stretch, but we'll take it where we can get it. And then the nighttime hit, we had the Packers -2.5 against Seattle. I should have hit 6.5, dude. This was never going to be close. I know Geno got hurt, but it was 20-6 when he left. It was never a game. The Packers are so much better than the Seahawks. It should have been more, but we're still happy with the win. And then shout out to the Commanders for blowing it against the Saints. This was them and the Packers were the only 2 at halftime where I'm like, all right, these are locks. And then they just completely forgot how to play in the second half. They win this one by 1. So They still get their stupid win, and I'm sitting over here upset. So now we got to make more bets to try to get over the line. 3-1 this week will do the job, though. We don't need 4-0 this time.
Hey, can never be upset about 3-1. That's a hell of a week. And then you mentioned Will Levis. I think that his girlfriend that was like had all the memes like on draft night. Her name's like Chia or whatever. She was at the game where he got benched too. So prayers up for Will Levis right now. He's had a rough year.
Yeah, dude, that's tough. Everything seems to go wrong when she's in attendance. That's tough.
Yeah.
To see.
Yeah, she's a bad luck charm for him. But anyways, we'll recap mine real quick. Went 0-2, nothing new here. Browns scored 7 points against the Chiefs, held them to 21, which wasn't bad, but not going to get it done. 21-7. And then Derrick Henry over 100.5 rushing yards. Yeah, stupid play. I mean, the game script wasn't horrible. I mean, I kept thinking they were going to keep feeding him, but he finished with like 67. Terrible read. Why am I taking a guy over 100 yards? I don't know. But we've got a different approach here for this week's best bets. So we'll be taking something different. Obviously, over the course of the year, it has not gone well for me on these best bets. So we're gonna switch it up here.
Yeah, I love to hear it. I already know what's happening, so I'm excited for it. I'm just gonna say real quick, I'm not gonna lie, I faded this Browns pick. I'm not betting on the Browns. But I did bet on Derrick Henry, so that was unfortunate to see when I checked the stats. I wasn't watching that one, and he's got like 40 yards near the end of the game. It's not looking good. Everything that happened in that game was just not what I expected. I feel like I got to stop trying to read the Ravens, because the only other time I remember we did that was against the Chargers, and everyone sucked. So
Yep.
Never again. You can't trust the Ravens, I don't think, except for when they're playing the Bengals. You already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Well, I'll let you go first on your best bets, because you've got a few more than I do.
All right. Yeah, I might just do all mine real quick, and then we'll have you on for years. I don't know how to divide these up super well like last time. So I've got 4 spreads this week. One of them is an alternate, but I do think some lines have moved. So sorry if they're not exactly what's being reflected on the scorebooks or sports books. First of all, all reliable Buccaneers -3.5 at Dallas. I'm not even going to say much more. They're winning this game, and I think it's going to be handily. So, Baker, let's go. Let's get it done one more time. And then another old reliable pick. We've got the Bengals -6.5 versus Cleveland. I've picked them, I want to say, 3 of the last 4 weeks now. The line is at 7.5. As soon as I saw DTR was out, I was throwing this one on here. I just don't see the Bengals having a problem with them against Thompson Robinson. And I also don't think the weather is going to be a huge factor. It's in Cincinnati, so the game will be a little bit better conditions than if it was in Cleveland. And I don't think it's supposed to be a rain game or anything like that. So I don't see any of that weird stuff happening that might screw this up. So I don't see how the Bengals lose by more than a touchdown. They've just been rolling so much on offense. And after their defensive performance last week in the second half, I actually have a little confidence in it. So we'll see if they can keep the momentum going. And then the last 2 here, we've got the Rams -3 at the Jets. Kind of just similar to the Bucks. I think this should be no problem for the Rams to cover this -3, and then we still get the push as well with the 3 on this one. So that's at least a little bit better than the Bucks that a field goal push. Yeah, I mean the Rams just they beat the 49ers in that weird Rams game, which was good to see. So even if there are like some cold weather conditions, something like that, it seems like the Rams can power through against a lesser team, which weird to say that about the 49ers, but regardless of what the conditions are, I like the Rams to take this one, especially with their them being in the midst of their playoff push and really just needing wins where they can get them in that tight division. And then lastly, I feel like this was taking candy from a baby. I got the Vikings -3 against Seattle at +100. Geno Smith might not even play in this one. So if that's the case, I mean, this line is going to skyrocket in the Vikings' favor. And then even if Geno Smith plays, we just saw what it looked like against the Packers at home. It didn't look very good. So I don't think that should be a concern. We even heard fans chanting, "Go Pack, go." This is basically not even a home game for them anymore. I just want to call out the Seattle fans. Y'all are fake. The 12th man thing died when Russell Wilson died. Y'all are fake. So I just wanted to get that out there. And then also the weather conditions, this one are actually supposed to be bad. And I think that's going to favor the Vikings with this defense. If Sam Howell is back there and is raining, they're going to kill them. And I might even hammer like 13.5 if that's the case. So, but for now, we're just sticking with -3. So long ramble there once again with the 4 bets, but those are the ones I like this week. And we just need a 3-1. So hopefully we can get it.
Nah, I love it, man. The only one that I don't like absolutely love, I had the Rams and Jets. I don't know. That one that one seems like a trap to me. I don't know why. I mean, the Jets are horrible, like you said. I mean, this should be no problem for the Rams, especially with their offense. But dude, I don't know. That just seems a little weird to me. I don't know. I'm hoping for you. But yeah, the other three totally love. I'll be telling with you. Rams, Jets. I don't know. Might stay away from that one, but love it. Hoping. What are we hoping for? 3-1 here. We need 3-1.
Yeah, that's what we need. So yeah, 3-1 we'll be happy. We'll get over the even mark. And I will just say about the Jets game, I can understand if you have a little PTSD from the Dolphins -6.5 scandal. So that's understandable.
Fair. All right. Well, to get into my bets. So what I've got here, I've wrote down every single team and then the over or under for each game except for the Thursday night game. Eliminated that. We're not taking that. And I'm gonna spin a little wheel here, and we're gonna get 2 picks here. I will say if it lands on anything directly fading any of your 4 picks, we're gonna respin. So
Okay.
not gonna directly fade you. But first spin, we're in action right now. We have got the under in the 49ers game. Let's see what that is at. Oh, we got under 44.5 Niners Dolphins. Man, love it. Purdy, he's out. I mean, they don't have McCaffrey. Dolphins offense is horrible. Tyreek sucks. Jalen Waddle, horrible. Dude, this game, they might not score 21. We saw what the Niners did last week. God, I love it. All right, under 44.5 for the 49ers game. All right, write that down. All right, next one. Second one. We're in action right now. We have got the we're gonna get a respin. We got Browns. They play Bengals, right?
Yeah.
Respin.
Dude, now I'm scared now. I think the Browns are covering. The wheel
Might have been a
exposed.
sign. Oh, and we got another under. Rams game under. All right. So we're rooting for the Rams to win by 3 and that game to go under 46. Love it. The Rams are going to score 27. Jets are going to score like 13. And it's going to hit the under, and we're both going to win our bets there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see what could go wrong here. I actually, I feel like that Rams Jets one goes along with what you were saying pretty well. You thought this could be a trap game. I mean, the only way this is going to be a trap game is if it's under 46 points. If the Rams are scoring 20-some points, they're running away with this one. So apparently the wheel agrees with your thinking there. The Niners Dolphins one is a little interesting because I do kind of like the Niners to bounce back after a crappy performance there. And I like the Dolphins offense, I feel like, more than most people do and more than they've been performing. So I feel like I would favor the overside on this one, but I can't say I was loving it enough to actually bet it. So we'll see if this can hit. We'll see if the wheel continues to speak. It's been doing wonders for Riley this year in fantasy. So let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, and I was going to add on, I kind of liked the over in the 49ers game, so that's perfect. We got the wheel telling me to take it under, so I'm pumped up. We're going 1 unit plays, nothing crazy here, but we're going to try and get under that 12 or 13 unit mark. So we'll go down there. So we'll see how the wheel plays us.
Yo, no 8 unit Bezos plays this week on the wheel.
No 8 unit Bezos plays. It's we're gonna take our losses for the season.
Well, any listeners out there, don't be shy of the Bezos play on these two. The wheel has spoken, like I said. This is going to be 2-0, and I'm terrified for the Browns Bengals game now. I think the Browns covering's a lock after the wheel said that. So we'll see.
Hey, we'll see. Good luck to you. I don't think I've got anything else to wrap this episode up. Do you?
I don't think so, other than we're not going to record the next 2 weeks. I'll be out of town, so I will not be here to record. But after the fantasy playoffs, I'll be back, and we will be ready to wrap up the season and our fantasy season. So I'll be excited to see who wins. Hopefully not Riley, I guess. But other than that, I'll be happy to see who wins. Maybe we'll see Barrett get his first title, something like that. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. I was going to say good luck to everybody except for Riley. So we'll see everybody in a couple weeks, and go Colts and go Lions as always, and we'll be back in a few weeks.